I was just saying that I can't wait to hear about your incredibly unique background, but managing the medical research lab, and working with Fortune 100 companies, and receiving empowerments from the Dalai Lama. How did
Yeah.
this journey begin, Art?
Well, it began, I went from being really, really adventuresome. Like when I was 18, and nowadays people travel a lot, but when I was 18, if you lived in California, going to Europe was a really big deal. So they started charter flights. So they were, and like I had a one-way ticket, a pack, a sleeping bag, and very little money because I wanted to have an adventure. And, I slept out in the fields. I mean, I had an amazing time. And so I was this really adventuresome person, graduated college, and didn't really want to know what I wanted to do with my life, but I had a degree in biology. So I thought maybe I'd get a research job for, a few months or something till I know what I want. And miraculously, they hired me. I couldn't, because I had very minimal requirements. And by a year later, I was managing this research lab, and everything in my life was great. I had true love. Everything was fine, except I didn't belong there. I'm sure some of the people listening can relate to, like, you're doing this work and everything's fine, but like, this isn't what I was born to do. And I mean, it seems kind of funny now, but years ago, everybody thought, oh, you had a career, or most of us thought. And I couldn't think of a career I wanted to do for my whole life. And a woman who'd been my first girlfriend in college went, well, your problem, Art, is you're looking for a box to put yourself in. She goes, you're kind of an unusual person. You're going to have to build the box. You're not going to be able to find it. And I knew that was true, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I kept going on year after year and thinking, like I say, everything else in my life was great, but thinking, like, what is wrong with me that I can't choose something? And I went to a lecture on intuition, and it was just okay. But they had a table where they're selling all these books on intuition, which we will come back to in a moment. And during the break, I went out in the hallway, and this was ancient days when they had flyers on bulletin boards, and before the internet. And there was a one flyer, and it said neuro-linguistic programming. And I read the words, and literally it felt like a bolt of lightning hit me on top of my head and went straight down my midline. I mean, it was like they talk about the muses, like boom. And the scientist in me was going, what was that? And the mystic in me was going, well, it was a sign. But so I'm kind of stunned, and I don't know what to do with that. And I walk inside. So I start looking at all these books, and there's maybe 20 or more books on intuition, but one of the books isn't on intuition. It was on NLP. And I thought, okay, this is definitely a sign. Bought the book, and everything in my life changed.
Wow. And it wasn't Wyatt Woodsmall's book, was it?
No, it was one of the early, just before Wyatt hadn't written any books yet, I don't believe.
Tony Robbins' book. Well, Wyatt came first, then came Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it was definitely before Tony. It was a book called Reframing, one of the early NLP books. But I got it home and it said, "Don't start with this book." So I went, and I had to order a book and wait a couple weeks for it to come in the mail. I was like a good boy. I thought, I'm going to start with the right book.
Okie dokie. So I want to know about the Dalai Lama and the empowerments and the healing thing. That's whoa.
Yeah. So since I was, and this will come back to the Dalai Lama, I promise. So ever since I was like really young, I was interested in science, but I was also interested in mysticism, the powers of the unconscious mind. In elementary school, I was hypnotizing friends and cousins. In fact, we went to the library, my mother and I wanted a book on hypnosis, but I was so young, the librarian wouldn't check it out to me. So my mother checked it out for me. And my mother said, the librarian gave her this, "You're a terrible mother" look.
Great mom.
Yeah, exactly. So I was always interested in all that, but traditional psychology, when I would study it, it was really interesting, but it never felt right to me. It felt like too limited. And So I kind of put that all aside. But I'd always been interested in ESP and all of this. So when I started studying NLP, this was in Northern California, in Marin County, which is on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. And there were all these people that were into energy work and healing. So they started teaching me things and introduced me to teachers, and that everything really took off from there. But I saw the Dalai Lama twice, and I have to be clear when I,
Where?
Oh, once in Marin County. Well, actually, once in San Jose, and once in where was it? Somewhere near San Francisco.
Grace says, so grateful to hear you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Grace.
Yes, too.
And I have to be clear with people, because sometimes when I say I had 2 empowerments from him, they picture like he's in my living room and we're having tea. It was, it was me and a couple thousand people. But like the first time I'm watching him, and I should explain something. There's something called thought forms, which are these energy formations. And the Tibetan Buddhists have been building up these powerful healing thought forms and transformative thought forms for hundreds of years. And he has access to them as the Dalai Lama. And when he's just giving a talk, he's this sweet old Buddhist guy. And I mean, I've also heard him just give a talk. And one time he goes, "You're all here because you think I'm going to say something special." And he goes, "I don't have anything special to say." And then he gave a very sweet Buddhist talk. But when he's doing empowerments, he opens up these energy fields. And I'm like watching him. And I was still pretty new to energy work for the first one. And these huge arcs of energy are coming off him. I'm like going, my eyes must have been this wide. And that particular empowerment was on something called Dzogchen, which is one of their highest forms of meditation, and it's called the Great Perfection. And the thing about empowerments, and I do empowerments with people now, with my students, empowerments are like opening the door. They don't get you all the way there, but they open the door and scoot you in and go, now, if you actually want to pursue this, so you have to then work with it. And the second empowerment was called the Blue Medicine Buddha, which was to increase our ability to heal ourselves and others. And I use that quite a bit.
And how do you use that?
Well, in my work with people, I call upon those energies, because the Blue Medicine Buddha is about healing. So mental, physical, emotional, spiritual.
And what was the first moment you realized that there was more to life than traditional science to make this switch from your managing your reproductive endocrinology
we were studying during pregnancy, the levels of estrogen and progesterone change in a woman, and that changes all kinds of physiological responses. So people knew that, but they didn't know how it worked. And we were one of the early groups looking at like how is that, what's happening? So these hormones are running around, but how does that actually change things? So it was actually very interesting work, and very important work. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, but so no, yeah.
And then you found NLP.
Yeah, but like I say, since I was a little kid, I was always fascinated by both, science and mysticism and spirituality and energy work, as long as I can remember, which is interesting because the Dalai Lama is completely fascinated by science. And he even wrote a book, The Universe in a Single Atom, his attempt to bridge the gap between science and spirituality. It's a great book.
Ooh, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I really recommend it.
Add it to the list.
And it's short. So always a good point. But then I'd had different experiences on and off as an adult, but I never, I don't know, nothing ever felt quite right to me. And then once I started NLP, everything got synchronistic, and then I met great teachers. And luckily for me, all of my teachers were very much like me in that they weren't beholden to one ideology. They would learn from all different kinds of schools of energy work and spirituality, and then bring it together, which is the same thing that I do. To me, I take the best of everything I've learned and weave it together to be something new.
Yeah, you studied with a lot of the major developers of NLP, Richard Blander, John Grinder, Leslie Cameron Bandler.
Yeah. Leslie was my
like what are those aha moments, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was constant aha moments, to be honest. Yeah, and I was lucky enough that again, my life's very synchronistic, and even before I was done studying the basic course in NLP, and there's a story about how this happened. I was invited to be part of Leslie Cameron Bandler's research group that was developing new theories and techniques in NLP. So here I'm like, and they invited me because the people in the group, I knew a number of them because they were assistants in the class I was in, and they told Leslie, well, there's this new guy. He doesn't know much yet because he's new, but he's got a lot of potential, and maybe it'd be good to have somebody in the group who can do the emperor has no clothes, somebody who's naive. And so every 2 weeks, I'm meeting with this group of people, and we're developing new things in NLP. I'm not even through the basic course yet, and I was like in heaven. It was like, it was so incredible.
You manifested that. Was this part of that research team that you were on that developed the imperative self-analysis?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you became one of the first 2 trainers certified to teach that.
Right. Yeah, because I was part of the group. This went on for a couple of years. The way we developed it as an adjunct to NLP.
So can you explain why imperative self-analysis is and why it was so, or is still so groundbreaking?
Yeah, I think it still is. I mean, it's still incredible. And in imperative self-analysis, we were looking at what are the core drivers for a person? What are they unconsciously always driven to do? And what are the connections they make unconsciously that it's like a whole set of belief systems that drive how they operate in life. And then once you know what they are, then you can update them, change them. There's all kinds of deep drivers. I mean, some people, for instance, are always, they're not conscious of it, but they feel like they always have to, what's the word I'm trying, not validate, but they have to prove they have a right to be alive. There's quite a few people who have that belief. And it isn't that they would say that to you typically. I mean, some people realize it, but unconsciously, they all have to earn their right to breathe air, to be here, to take up space. Mm-hmm. Other people, some of the more common one, let me just answer this question. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And if you've never heard of it, you've heard of the most famous person in our field, who's Tony Robbins. Now, he has his own way, that people love or not, about rah-rah and domination. But the core of his ability to transform people's lives, which he does, it comes from NLP. And I think he started studying about a year before I did. Certainly did a lot better with the marketing. And but another, yeah, there you go. There you are with Tony himself. And there's a lot to imperative self-analysis, but one of it is something Leslie called your core question. And it's like as if a person's always asking themselves a certain question unconsciously. And you can elicit what that question is and then change it or change how they work with it. So, I mean, it's a kind of an involved field, but it's quite transformative.
Okay. So you were deeply immersed in, I guess I'm going to call it traditional NLP.
Right.
And then you created something new, energetic NLP. So what was missing from traditional NLP that inspired you to develop this new approach?
Well, one of the things that I didn't like originally about psychology was the rigidness. Like, I think if you go back to every man wants to kill his father and sleep with his mother, every woman wants her own penis, all the Freudian kind of stuff. And I always thought, well, the people coming up with this stuff are geniuses. I don't think they're right, but and I think they move things forward, but it felt like they believed themselves too much. They were, they like their ideas and then they turn them into beliefs, which is really the opposite of science. But scientists are humans, and do the same thing we all do. But what I liked about NLP, it was the first thing that I'd ever studied where they went, none of what we're telling you is true. These are models of reality. These are models of how people think and behave. Don't treat them like the 10 Commandments being brought down from the mountain. Just treat them as useful ideas. And where they work, use them. When you hit the limits of them, evolve them. And I thought, finally, somebody gets it, And that's one of the things I bring over to this spirituality and the energy work. So there's a lot of people doing incredible energy work. But to me, most of them, again, are very, very rigid, and they believe that everything they're saying is some kind of absolute truth. So some people tell you your heart chakra is like a vortex and it comes out like this. Other people will tell you, no, your heart chakra is in the central channel called the Sushumna, and it doesn't point out, it points up, and it has petals. Well, those are pretty different models of reality. And people do great work with both models, but where they get limited is they start thinking each one is the truth. When I look at somebody's chakra, it's like this multidimensional, dynamic thing that isn't either of those. But it's useful to be able to have these simple models, but it becomes a limitation when you think they're the truth. So I made up a term I call beliefs du jour that we use in energetic NLP, like soup du jour. So soup of the day, this is the belief of the day. So when I teach a workshop, I make people pledge that they're not going to believe what I tell them. Because my goal is always that they explore what I'm telling them and they use that to connect with their own spiritual information, which is going to be better than what anybody can tell them. So in other words, I want them to use what I'm saying as a bridge to get to their deep knowledge. The other thing is, as soon as you put into words, when you're talking about chakras and spirituality and other dimensions and planes, as soon as you put them into words, you take this complex, multidimensional, incredible reality and put it in little tiny boxes. And we need to do that as human beings, as long as you don't believe the box is the reality. Does that make sense the way I'm explaining it?
Well, let's see. For people who've never heard of energetic NLP,
yeah,
how would you describe it in simple terms?
Okay.
I mean, what makes it different? Go
yeah. Simple terms is I've taken what I think is the best from NLP, which is a very logical, more scientific, if you will, way to do miraculous personal change. But like any system, it has its limitations. I combine it with spiritual principles, and you can do miracles with those, but they have their limitations. Transformative energy work, particularly remote energy work, which is my big specialty. And all of those systems can do miracles, all of them have limitations. So I weave them together. And energetic NLP is what I think is the best of everything I've learned over the last 41, 42 years.
Believe in yourself says it's about aligning the conscious and subconscious mind.
It is about that. It's also about aligning the spirit and the soul, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, your karma, your spiritual contracts, and other spiritual factors. So it's about, I'm with you, aligning is super important, but the conscious and unconscious mind are just the beginning. Because you have a spirit, you have a soul, which is different than your spirit. And you have karma, you have spiritual contracts. I was looking at, a friend of mine had posted something and somebody put about having goals. And somebody put, well, the problem with some people is they don't meet their goals because the goal of comfort is more important to them than their other goals. And I put, well, that's true for some people, but people have unconscious blocks. They have spiritual blocks. They have energetic programming. So you don't just have unconscious programming. Your whole energy system is programmed, and it was programmed by past lives, by your ancestors, by your family. And all of that comes together. So it's not just like, oh, people who don't meet their goals are lazy or that kind of idea.
Well, Grace says, this is brilliant. Thank you, Grace Cavalieri.
Okay, I think I can stop talking now. Thank you, Grace. Okay, we're done.
Because everyone else wants to hear more and more, because you say,
oh, okay.
Transformation can be easy and fun. That's kind of radical, right? So most people think personal growth has to be hard and painful and even traumatic. Why do you believe it can be easy? I believe it can be easy.
Yeah.
For some of our audience who are struggling.
Yeah, it's like so many things in life. It can be really hard, often because we don't know how to make it easy and we don't have the help necessary. There was a movie, and like most movies of this type, it was about Christopher Columbus years ago that I saw as a kid. And supposedly it's after he's discovered the New World, and he's into some royal banquet, and he's sitting next to some duke or something who doesn't like he's sitting by a sailor as far as he's concerned. And there's some hard-boiled eggs still in the shell, as part of the food. And this duke looks at him and goes, well, after all, what you did wasn't really very hard. And Columbus takes this hard-boiled eggs and goes, can you make it stand up? And the duke, keeps falling over. And then Columbus takes it, taps it so the bottom flattens out and makes it stand up. And he goes, it's very easy once you know how to do it. And what makes personal change so hard, and I've lived through that too, is we weren't taught to make it easy. And again, traditional psychology has brainwashed us with the idea that we have to know the causes. You have to figure out, mom did this and dad did this, and this happened in my third grade. And the original belief behind psychotherapy was if you just knew what it was, within 5 or 12 years, you'll actually heal and change it. And I'm not kidding about that. I remember talking to a psychologist, wonderful, wonderful woman, when I was young, and she went, well, I have to work with somebody for at least 5 years to make a deep change. And yeah, and she was fantastic, but that's what she was taught, and so we brainwash with this idea that analyzing it is what will make a difference. And there's some of you I imagine you have an international audience. So there's an expression in America, a booby prize. And what a booby prize is, like when you're at a party as a kid, if you're the worst one, they give you the booby prize. And so it's a prize, but it's for being the worst. And somebody once said, understanding is the booby prize of life. So of course, there's a role for understanding, but a lot of our understandings aren't right anyways. And you can make really incredible changes when you let go of thinking you have to intellectually figure it out, and you let your spirit guide you. And then the miracles happen. A lot of times when I'm working with people, they go, oh my God, everything's changed. It's great. Like, what did we do? And I'll go, well, I don't know. It's like, I go, don't even go there. It's like, it's like often the analysis makes it worse. At first, you get this wonderful feeling of understanding, which is great, but then it tends to lock you in. And you can bypass all of that and just get the deep changes. And it's, it can take some effort, but it can be very easy and very fun.
What are some of the unconscious, spiritual, and energetic blocks that you can give people to help them clear it? Like, what's a common example of a common block that holds people back? Besides all those sayings, those beliefs that you got in your head that are, like, oh, I got so many of them.
Yeah, I mean,
don't be too big for your britches. It is what it is.
If you're successful, people will get you. You're not worthy. You're not deserving. You were bad.
That's as good as it gets.
Good people. Popular one is that that only bad people have wealth. Because they had to have been bad to get it. Or if you have wealth, then people aren't going to like you. Or if you have love, then everybody's going to be jealous of you, or you might lose it. I mean, there's endless numbers of them, but they tend to fit in a couple of categories. One is safety. The other is consistency. Our unconscious minds want consistency because consistency gives you a level of safety, even when it's negative. So if you have a deep belief that everybody hates you, if people start liking you, you get uncomfortable because all your programming is that can't be true. So, it disrupts what we call your reality strategy. So a lot of this gets wired into identity, or I'm lucky or I'm unlucky, or I had a client once, really big guy. I mean, really tall, really big. And I was always muscular but short, and he had this belief that he was small from when he was a kid. So finally, I had him stand up next to him in a full-length mirror, and I go, "Show you're unconscious." And he goes, "I'm really big." And I go, "Yeah, you are." I go, "I'm feeling a little puny, but you're really big." But so all kinds of beliefs get wired in, but they're not just from this lifetime. And I don't know what the truth is about past lives, but what I do know is true is that people have energy in their energy fields that are from other lifetimes. Now, how that works, what that means, is interesting philosophical debate. But pretty much everybody has energies and programming that came from a whole other life. It, of course, doesn't fit this life. And so a lot of people, maybe in another life, they were authentic to themselves. So they got killed or ostracized from the village or made fun of, or, and they'll be in your soul, there'd be this programming like, oh, don't do that one again. In fact, a lot of my students, one of the things we have to work on is there'll be a sense there were past lives where they were like burned at the stake or stoned or driven out of the village for being witches or heretics. So there's just all kinds of programming that can go on.
So how do you clear that one?
Well, same way you clear all of them. I mean, I can take everybody through processes to clear stuff if you want.
Yeah, we'll do whatever one you want to do, but let's answer a couple of questions here from Eagle Pepper 44. Hi, how do you know when a transformation comes from energetic intelligence rather than belief? And what responsibility does that give you?
I'm not sure, but the second question, maybe you could explain that one. You mean me as somebody working with them or for the individual? But
do it both ways so that Eagle Pepper is happy.
Yeah. So I'll take everybody in a bit later. I'll take you all through a process, but there's a process you
want to do it now? Would that help this question?
Yeah. If that's okay with you, Eagle. Let me give you the experience.
Are you ready for a transformation?
And
right, here we are.
All right. A couple things. If you're listening to this either live or recorded and driving, either turn it off and listen to it later or pull over. Because whether you believe in remote energies or not, during the work, I'm going to be bringing in energies into wherever you are in the world, which, by the way, anybody can learn to do. I've been teaching people to do it for 40 years. But energies will be coming in, and the energies I use, a lot of them are very high frequency, and they're designed to get you to go inward so that your unconscious mind and your spirit can make really deep changes. And that's a wonderful thing, but not when you're driving. So don't be like cutting vegetables or driving or anything where it's not okay to get spacey. The other thing, again, you don't need to believe anything that I'm saying. And in fact, I don't even want you to. What I would like is, while we're doing the processes, just pretend that it's true. In the same way, if everybody listening were 5 years old and in a good mood, and I went, imagine the room you're in is filling with sparkling gold energy. The room, I have to put on sunglasses because you wouldn't worry, is it true or working? You just go, okay. And we're just playing a game. So you'll get the most out of these processes if you treat it like, well, this is just a fun little game. Okay. And then later you can analyze it. Okay. And this is even recorded, so you can really analyze it if you want to. But try to bring out your playful child and don't suppress the analytical part of you. I mean, I was a medical researcher, I'm analytical, but just turn down the volume, just keep coming back to we're just having fun. And remember, I talked about beliefs du jour. So when I say ideas, I'm not trying to say they're ultimate truths, but let's just pretend they're true and see what happens. So energy follows your thoughts and intention. And I'm going to describe things as visualizations. You don't need to be able to see it in your mind's eye. Your unconscious mind will visualize it if you let it. So if you see it in holographic glory, great. If you kind of sort of see it, great. If you don't see it at all, but you pretend to see it, great. All of those work as long as you don't fuss about it.
You can't fail this.
You can't fail this. Yeah, you truly can't. The other thing is when the energy is running, you may have temporary reactions of different types. You may not feel anything, which is fine. It works whether you feel it or not. You may get really energized. You may get spacey. Any of those is fine. Let me see. That energy.
I've often told other streamers I engage with that I'm sending certain types of energy to them or to complement them, to complement what they are doing from Believe in Yourself. Thank you, Believe in Yourself.
Thank you.
We believe.
Yeah. And what we're first going to do is we're going to create your miraculous self. And I'll explain what that is. And then when the energy is flowing, the job of your conscious mind is to set intentions and give permission to receive. And by the way, if you get nothing else out of this talk today, everybody goes, set your intentions, set your intentions. You can set your intentions. That doesn't mean your unconscious mind and your energy field will let you actually receive them. So it's important to also go, I'm giving 100% permission to receive. And later, we'll take that even deeper. But let's start with it on that level. And so right now, just imagine there's this giant gold ball of energy, and all of us are inside of it. And it's our transformational miracle energy space. And if you are watching this as a recording, it works on a recording too. If you pretend this is happening right now while you're watching it, you will access the energies. Like I said, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've had thousands of people tell me like, yep, that works. So just imagine there's this giant gold ball of energy. And let's just declare it's a space of love, a space where you feel validated and acknowledged. It's a space where you're not trying to fix yourself, but you're trying to blossom. Everybody is already a beautiful and powerful spiritual being. It's just clearing the blocks so that you can embody more and more of what you really are. So we're not fixing. Think of yourself like a flower. We're not fixing the flower. We're helping it blossom. And let's imagine the space is filled with energies of miracles and transformation and wisdom and love and strength and joy and giggles and anything else that we want. And now you're going to create your miraculous self. Now, your miraculous self is not the same as your high self. So let it be its own unique thing. It's a unique concept to energetic NLP. And what it is when your spirit, with its vast awareness, and your deep inner human wisdom, with its very practical wisdom, come together and align to nurture you, heal you, and help you manifest. Nurture you, heal you, guide you, and help you manifest. And your spirit knows the big picture. It knows why you incarnated into this life, how you fit into the unfolding of humanity, and really the unfolding of the universe, not just humanity. It knows what your blocks are. It knows all the abilities you have, the ones you've tapped into and the ones you haven't even tapped into yet. So it has this incredible wisdom, but it's such a high level, it's a little removed from human life. Your spirit loves you, but it just sees this huge, big picture. Your deep inner human wisdom is very wise, but it's very practical. So when your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom come together, then you have spiritual growth and personal growth in a way that makes your life more miraculous, more joyful, more synchronistic, more affluent, more loving, more compassionate. And you might think that your spirit and your inner wisdom automatically work together, but they don't. And Creating your miraculous self is so simple. A lot of you will try to make it complicated. So take a deep breath and go. You might have to grit your teeth and go, I'm going to make it simple. I'm going to let it be simple. Yeah. Okay, that was the work. So it's as easy as this. Set your intention that your spirit and your deep inner wisdom right now are creating your miraculous self, and give 100% permission for that to happen and for you to receive the benefits of that. And then the secret ingredient is just imagine it's happening. So if you go, is it happening? Am I doing it right? You block it. It's like dancing or singing or doing anything. And when you're overthinking it, just for right now, just pretend it's happening. You don't even have to believe it. Just imagine it. Your spirit and your deep inner wisdom right now are forming your miraculous self. And then now just imagine you have a miraculous self. And we're going to do a couple different processes. Let's start by one. Pick some area of your life. So while we're recording this, it's January, which is a perfect time to be setting up the year. And if you're listening to this in the future, our future, your present, it's always every day is, every day is the first day of your life. So it can be New Year's any day you want it to be. Think of something either like a problem you'd like improved or a goal that you want to achieve this year. Or it can be both. A problem you'd like to be eliminated or enhanced or improved, and a goal you'd like to achieve. And then give your miraculous self permission to identify energetic, spiritual, or unconscious blocks that are either creating the problem or are in the way of your manifesting this goal that you want. Or something better. We always add or better, or something even better. So again, your miraculous self, and don't try to do this consciously. Consciously, just relax. But let your miraculous self identify. It could be unconscious programming, energetic programming, karma, spiritual contracts, other people's energy in your space, limiting beliefs. And set your intention that those blocks are going to be dissolved now. Give 100% permission to receive that. Give 100% permission for your miraculous self to be in charge. So you're not putting me in charge, you're putting your spirit and your inner wisdom in charge. And then just imagine now that a whole symphony of energies is coming into your body and in your aura and the space around you. And your miraculous self is choosing which of those energies it wants to use. And it's deciding what it wants to do with it. What limiting beliefs it wants to dissolve. What old programming it wants to dissolve. Maybe it wants to clear karma or spiritual contracts. Maybe it wants to heal and release old emotional energies. Maybe it wants to enhance your self-concept. And just imagine now these beautiful energies are coming in and they're working in your chakras, your energy channels, your aura, which is in and around you in all directions. And your miraculous self knows all about this, so just let it figure it out. I will mention, though, chakras just aren't in your body, and there's a lot more than 7 of them. There's ones above your crown, above your head. There's ones below your feet. You have lots of these energy channels. And just let your miraculous self start healing and clearing them and resetting them and activating them for you to have a really miraculous 2026. Or I should just say next year, because maybe you'll be listening to this next year. And then just take easy, deep breaths and just imagine outside of your awareness, all this wonderful healing's going on and clearing. And now let's add something to this. As you're clearing the old blocks, there's now room for more wisdom to come in, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, behaviors, emotions, and energies that will naturally lead to your manifesting and living a more miraculous life. And think of this like the way you download into your phone or computer. Give your miraculous self permission to download into you now and integrate it into your personality and your energy field. Wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, behaviors, emotions, and energies that will naturally lead to your living a more and more miraculous life. One that's more authentic, abundant, loving, one where you have more strength, motivation, perseverance, more joy, more rest. And realize that you're not just doing this for yourself. Every person who does this, you're doing it to improve your own life, the lives of people that you're involved with, but also every person who does this is changing the whole collective consciousness of humanity. And we're at a time in human history where there's incredible possibility for the whole human collective consciousness to evolve. And we all need more and more of us to be manifesting more of the beautiful spiritual being you are into this life. So take an easy, deep breath and realize you're doing this for you, the people you care about, and for all of life, all of humanity, for the planet. And now energies are coming in to help you process and integrate the benefits, help you integrate the downloads into your personality and energy field so that you have more guidance, more synchronicity, joy, love. In fact, let's bring in more and more infinite divine love and let that be absorbed into your body and energy field. And think of the concept of grace, that spirit, God, again, people use whatever your beliefs are. And I'll just say the word spirit. Spirit loves us and wants to love us. It has nothing to do with being deserving. To just allow that infinite love and joy to be absorbed into your cells, your DNA, your organs, all of your body systems, your chakras, your energy channels, all the layers of your aura. And imagine from the heart of the earth, a column of energy comes up near the base of your spine. The earth is stronger than we are, so let the earth do all the work. Let the earth ground you. And let it ground only your authentic energy into your body. And give your miraculous self permission to use that grounding to keep releasing energies and old beliefs and blocks very gently down your grounding. And this will continue probably for days, which is good. And at the same time, your miraculous self is bringing up from the earth, Mother Nature energies, energies that love you, acknowledge you, heal you, energies that give you strength, courage, creativity, wisdom, joy, energies that acknowledge your right to exist, your right to pursue happiness. And then let's bring in some sparkling energy. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And it's good to move a little bit. You can stomp your feet, pat your body. Actually, bouncing is good. Yeah, bouncing is great. Loosens the fascia. Whenever you do an energetic NLP process, you're realigning your energy field. So your body wants to realign, so it helps if it moves a little bit. And be sure to drink water after this. So a long-winded way to answer the question of I think the difference between the spiritual guidance and analytic. Oh, good, you got the water. Analytically doing it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes, I have water too here. Let me get it. But that's how in energetic NLP you create your miraculous self. You put it in charge. So the role for the conscious mind is you set your intentions. But then you let your miraculous self figure out how to do it. And we always, when we set our intentions, we add the words or better. Because you know how sometimes in life you really wanted something and then something even better happens. So we're going, I want this or better. And how are you feeling?
Beautiful, light, happy, joyful, peaceful, calm, abundant, radiant, happy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I had my hands open like this, on my lap, and I felt like I don't know, little, just energy, like light.
Yeah.
I could feel it. I can't describe it in words. I don't know.
But can I just say that's exactly the point I was trying to make before. Sometimes, we think we need to describe it in words, and that just makes it smaller. It's like it's fun to go like,
this explained it.
Yeah.
Oh, Grace Cavallero says magnificent.
Oh, thank you.
And let's see, I have there she is. And I'm just
let me just mention
coming back to earth here.
Sometimes as you do this temporarily, you might feel some aches or pains. A lot of times blocks just dissolve. Sometimes they get physicalized a little bit. If emotions are coming up for any of you, that's good. Just, you don't have to figure them out. Most of the emotional energy in people's energy field isn't even theirs. People go, you need to be authentic to your feelings. Well, your feelings aren't authentic until you clear other people's energy out. So for some of when emotional energy leaves, a lot of times you don't notice it, but sometimes people do notice it and they go, why am I angry? Or why am I irritated? So if any of that came up for anybody, just be mindful of it and go, good, I'm just releasing old shit is the technical term, old stuff.
Yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Did you get that, ladies and gentlemen? I really wish you put a star or a 1 or a heart in the comments if you did it fully and feel the transformation. Did you feel? I feel. I'm wondering if you felt. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who feels stuck or limited or disconnected or not living their potential. Look at this. Grace says fabulous hour. Look at all those
Grace.
Great.
Thank you.
What would it be?
Advice one piece.
Listening to this and doing the replay and just closing the world out, go into yourself and just listen to his words and just don't think. Let it be.
And I think for anybody, no matter what our problems are, so like a lot of people run into, I used to think I had to figure everything out myself. And
Mm.
now I go, what a dummy I was. No, I don't really go that way, but I'm thinking like that no matter what your problems are, things can get better. And often it's just letting your spirit guide you to people that can help you, whether it's a friend or an acquaintance or honestly, sometimes I'll channel surf on the TV and all of a sudden somebody will say something and I'll go, oh my God, that was it. I mean, or a lot of people will open a book, but the main thing is there are ways through every problem and not necessarily saying that, so let's say grief or something, there's always something good on the other side. And often we need some kind of help. So I really encourage people to not be the way I used to be and think you have to tough it out or do it yourself or, just because I couldn't see it. I mean, all those years I was stuck. One of my students could have gone back in a time machine and in one session got me unstuck, because it was just things that I believed that was trapping me. And, so I'm just, and I'm no Pollyanna and I, had certainly big problems in my life, but there is help available nowadays. And my God, just on YouTube or podcasts. So there is a way. It's just a matter of really asking for guidance and then being out there and being willing to notice it.
Art, as we wrap up, what do you hope your legacy will be?
What I hope my legacy will be that, so my mission is to get more and more people to embody more of this vast, beautiful spiritual being that they are. And the more people that do that, the more it's easy for other people to do it because it creates spiritual energetic pathways. So we're all walking on paths that other people created, and then we create new ones and we make them bigger. So I hope my legacy is that through the people that I help and the people they help, not necessarily that even in the helping professions, but just by bringing more light and love into the world, that we're changing humanity and helping it move to its next state.
Beautiful. And how can people reach out to you if they want to get more?
The easiest way is if they go to Blockbuster, the number 7, lucky7.com. There it is, blockbuster7.com. If you sign up there, you'll get a series of 4 videos that will take you through really powerful energetic NLP processes. And each day builds on the one before. And that's a great way to be introduced to my work. And then you'll be on my mailing list and you'll hear about other things that I'm doing. The other is every Sunday at 10 a.m., I do a world healing and personal healing meditation. It's called Change the World from Your Living Room.com. Change the World from Your Living Room.com. Yeah. And we have people from all over the world. Usually there's 100 to 170 people. And we do a world healing meditation, but then everybody gets a really deep personal healing because the old-fashioned belief was, it's not good and spiritual unless you don't benefit. I don't like that. I want people to benefit when they do good. So we're doing a world healing, and then everybody gets an individual healing. And it's easy and fun.
Remember that Art is in LA, Pacific time, right?
Oh, yes, right. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you.
Very important, very important. That looks like a good one. And also he's in LinkedIn. I learned a lot about you from LinkedIn. And there is your blockbuster7.com. Reach out to him. So and Facebook?
And I'll just mention LinkedIn. You can just go to artlinkedin.com and it will go to my page.
Very good. Very good. Before we hang up, it's right at 8 o'clock. If you could have dinner with any spiritual teacher, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh, geez. Anyone. There's so many, but I learned so much from Ram Dass. I never met him, but I'd love to have had dinner with him.
And just in closing, what's the most miraculous thing that you've personally experienced?
I've done healing work on people where their bones shifted without putting any pressure on them. Literally, their structure changed, like faces realigned, vertebrae pop back in, and those are pretty like. I don't know if they were the most important ones, but they're the most dramatic ones where you go like, when this time this woman's face rearranged. She went, "Did you feel that?" And I went, because I was touching her, but very, very gently, and the energy just rearranged her face. It was wild.
What's one word that would describe that when you unlock those? One word to describe that feeling when you unlock those abilities, like.
Oh, it's just awe, wonder, joy. 3 words.
Wow. Wow.
And anybody can learn to do it's. Everybody has miraculous abilities. So I guess that's what I'd like people to know. If you want to develop them, anybody can do it.
Like they say, what is that? If you want a dream, follow your dream. How's a dream going to come true? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Art, thank you so much. Nick, thank you so much for introducing me to Art.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Wolf will be introducing you to Art, because now we have a circle going.
Right.
Friends meeting friends. So share this out and re-watch the replay, because that was very cool. I love you all. See you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Cynthia Mannion Show. Thank you so much, Art. You are a fabulous guest and a great sport.
Well, thank you. And the energy field you create around the show is beautiful. So it's a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Art.